Music, he said, wiping his eyes. A magic beyond all we do. Dumbledore from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And we've got some really magical things for you this afternoon. But before we begin, just a couple of quick questions. We're an organization that focuses on classically trained musicians, so why do I come out dancing to James Brown? And why is it that our nonprofit From the Top does what it does? Well, we are hopefully dispelling many of the stereotypes that are associated with classical music. When our young musicians perform, we love everybody to yell and cheer for them, just as if you were at a rock concert. And we're working on creating a new breed of classical musicians, young people who are just as concerned about their community as they are about perfecting their music. And also, isn't it about time that we make heroes of our young artists in the same way we celebrate our young athletes in this country? Absolutely. Well, From the Top is the largest platform that celebrates the talent, stories, and character of America's finest classically trained young, and that's really 8 to 18 years old musicians. We've had more than 3,000 musicians come through our program, reaching literally millions of people because we've been on NPR now for 16 years. You can hear us on more than 230 stations around the country. If you're here in this area, unfortunately, you have lost your classical music station. You can listen to our program on our website, or you can get our podcasts. We did 2 seasons of television, won 2 Emmys. We've got a new video series on YouTube. We've given away and are still giving over $2 million of cash scholarships to any exceptional young musician who comes from a truly financially needy background. We've got a very robust arts leadership program. Well, the 3 musicians you're about to eat are truly 21st century musicians, and they are redefining that term. So let's get started right away with some music. Please welcome 16-year-old Alana Zaks and her accompanist, 17-year-old Derek Wang. Hey, Alana.
The other side.
Hello.
So what are you going to start us off with?
Gershwin, It Ain't Necessarily So from the opera Porgy and Bess.
That'll be great. And when you're ready, just take it from the top. That was so beautiful, Alana. You know, it's always amazing to watch the technique in getting all the notes right, but as a young person, to be able to make it musical as well. It's way beyond technique. So I remember vividly, you came on our show. How old were you?
I was 14 years old.
It was 2 years ago, and you played brilliantly. I remember being stunned by that. But I also noticed you were very shy. And
Still am.
you still are. But you still play beautifully. But you also told me that when you went through our arts leadership workshop, something changed in you, and you had a new understanding. Could you share what that was?
Well, after I went through the arts leadership program, I learned that there are many different places to perform classical music, and also just knowing that it's a universal language. So anywhere you play it, it'll most likely be a hit, and it makes me very happy. It makes others very happy, and that's very important to me.
Yeah. What else is more important as we learn how we're going to live to 150 about being happy and making others happy? Well, stick around. We're going to bring you back at the end of the program to play another piece with us.
Thank you.
So I've mentioned our Arts Leadership Workshop program. Every young musician with whom we come into contact goes through an Arts Leadership Workshop wherein we give them the tools to take their music beyond the concert hall and really help make this world a better place through their music outside of the usual concert halls. The next person you're about to meet is what I call one of our real arts leadership stars. He has done so many projects with us. Please welcome 16-year-old Zladimir Fung. Hey, Zlati. It's always so great to see him, always so full of energy and excitement. So you've told me about the peer power, if you will, whenever you've done an arts leadership program. Tell everybody what you mean by that.
So after the arts leadership orientation, which is a core part of From the Top's mission, we'll usually do a project like going into a school and creating a musical presentation for the kids there. And in my experience, in the presentations I've done, it's often been very powerful because as young musicians, we have a certain ability to connect with young people. And when these kids who are, for example, in elementary school, see people who are only 6, 7 years older than them, it gives them a sense of immediate inspiration because, you know, oh, I'm only a couple years away from that, you know. And it's also amazing to see how well they respond to so-called classical music. I remember one kid in one of the presentations I did said, oh, you know, this piece reminds me so much of a monkey falling down stairs. And I was like, okay, you know, imagine what you will. But the the level to which they conceived and interpreted this music through the lens of their own experiences was amazing.
And you did a project completely on your own, simply with our guidance. Tell everybody what that was.
In April of 2015, myself and some of my fellow musicians organized a concert in collaboration with the nonprofit organization Music for Food, and we helped to raise proceeds for the Greater Worcester Food Bank.
And those proceeds, indeed, they raised enough money to provide 5,000 meals, which is pretty extraordinary. What do you and Derek have for us?
We are very pleased to be able to perform for you the third movement of Sulkan Tsintsadze's 5 pieces in folk style. This movement is called Sachi Dao, and it's a traditional song that was performed before a wrestling match.
Stage is yours. Our hard-working pianist. So you really got to hear this young man on the piano alone. Pretty amazing. So I mentioned that we have launched a new video series on YouTube and on Facebook. What's pretty unusual about that is in the classical music world, things that are purely classical music do not get very many hits. And our pieces now, which we are launching every single week, are averaging between 2 and 3 million views, something unheard of, and we are trying to reach a younger generation of people. The demographic of National Public Radio that listen to our program is 65 and older, and through our video pieces now, we are reaching a significantly younger demographic. And we celebrated the Super Bowl in our own way, and I want to give you just a little sneak peek of that. Roll them. Who said musicians don't make good football players? So tell me, how you've done several. This is just one of many that you have done with us. How do you feel that what we've been doing on our video pieces is different from other classical music videos?
Yeah, I mean, superficially, the eye black and the football pads, but really, what we're about is showing the person who's the musician in the video and capturing the energy and the spontaneity that goes with jamming, basically, incorporating whether it's a pop song on the radio right now or a jingle on TV like that, and the video cut right before we got into Chopin, and so incorporating all of these varied elements in a way that has a unified production value, a unified concept that's up to today's standards for what might go viral, for instance, and I think that's what we're doing.
What's interesting, Derek came to us recently and said, hey, I want to get involved in, as you guys are planning your next set of videos, I want to have a voice. I want to make suggestions about what we should do, which is wonderful, and we get those things from young people like you. And what is it you hope that these videos will accomplish? I know you're when you were at my home for an event, you're a very serious classical pianist, and that's what you want to do. How do you think this is going to have an effect on your world?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because as a classical artist, what I think the arts are for me is an invitation to live in music, to live in art. I think it's a type of living that's an extension of ourselves when we read a great novel or listen to a beautiful performance or look at artwork. And I think that feeling for me is what I dearly wish that all of my friends at high school, for instance, who don't know a thing about classical music, bless them, I love them, but for them to be able to experience what I have been lucky enough to experience in this music. And so I think everything I do in every performance, every recording, it's an invitation to come with me and to experience what I have been lucky to have. And this is going to take the form, as you know, in the 21st century, it's going to take the form of a video like that, and it's going to take the form of a cover of J-Lo or of Justin Bieber, just as much as it has taken the form in my performances of Beethoven, Brahms, Scriabin, whoever, you know. And so I think really that it's going to be a hook, and it's going to get people not only interested but truly curious. You know, the human curiosity is an essential element here, that people are really going to want to know what it is that we do as classical musicians, as young artists, and also what it is that can be done with these instruments and with the human mind, with imagination, creativity. These things are lasting.
So articulately spoken. 2 days ago, we got an email from a middle school music teacher who has a whole string program in her school, and she wrote us to say that the kids in her program wanted to know if she was going to keep showing them these covers that are being done by From the Top. And what she wrote was to say that the practice habits of all the kids in her string program went through the roof once they started to watch these. It was a whole new kind of inspiration for them beyond straight classical music. So let's see, we ought to end with something that includes all three of you. What will it be? Alana, you can come on out and get set while we're talking.
We're very excited to play a piece by Astor Piazzolla, the Argentine composer. This is from his Four Seasons of Buenos Aires. It's spring, or primavera. And Piazzolla wrote tango music and was also a classically trained composer, going to France to study with Boulanger abroad. So he had all the credentials. And here he incorporates tango into the classical piano trio. So I hope you all enjoy.
Great. It doesn't matter else. Well, there you go. Before they start playing, it's kind of interesting, and we've heard so much about technology, and you will see one of the things that the host of From the Top introduced is you will see that Zlati is playing with an iPad controlled by his foot. There are no page turners. The page turner is his foot. So you can make notes while you're in rehearsal. It's just extraordinary.